Think of your favorite 80s hit. What does it sound like? Chances are, the sound of a synth playing electric chords with an ethereal tone popped up in your head. And that's no surprise, because in 1982, an instrument called the Roland Juno-6 would solidify this sound spot in pop music history. The Juno-6 brought the polyphonic synth, an instrument originally affordable by only industry professionals, to the mass market, allowing aspiring musicians to permeate the music business with their own unique styles. In addition to its accessibility, its beautiful rich sound would introduce a new wave of music genres, labeling the Juno-6 as the signature sound of the 1980s. Welcome to the 7th episode of Retro Tech, the show where we dive into technological innovations of the past and analyze their legacies. I'm your host, Vex0r, and today I will present a story of an instrument that brought one of the most recognizable sounds in music to fame. By the end of the 1970s, the Japan-based Roland Corporation, established in 1972, had solidified its place in the market of analog synthesizers and other musical devices. However, despite their past market successes and popular products, Roland's financial stability took damage when the value of the yen, Japan's currency, dropped dramatically. This increased the costs of international imports from Japan, and when Roland's European distributor fell to bankruptcy, Roland lost access to a third of their worldwide market. In 1981, even after Roland was able to pick up the pieces and somewhat recover, their new products were not selling well. On top of that, other music industry competitors were also using a new technology that Roland didn't have access to create the digital synthesizer. But these new types of synthesizers were insanely expensive. For example, Yamaha's 1981 GS2 synthesizer is today priced at 1 million yen, or about 12,600 Canadian. Roland would see this as their opening. Before the release of the Juno-6, that synthesizer sound you imagined earlier was only produced by industry professionals that could own high-end equipment. Owners of expensive instruments monopolized the genre of music. The genre's personality lacked variation, as the only ones who could influence it were those who could afford it. Fortunately, this monopoly would be dismantled in 1982 with the release of the Roland Juno-6. It was the first polyphonic synthesizer to sell on the market for under $2,000, directly undermining the value of keyboards that usually sold for thousands more. Though its design was relatively simple, it was intuitive, paving the way for a generation of artists who could now afford to create with a synthesizer. Once these aspiring producers could get their hands on a Juno, the music-making part came with ease. This was thanks to its straightforward interface. At its core, the Juno-6 was a very basic single oscillator synthesizer that, to a synth nerd, appeared to be lacking. An oscillator is what creates sound and gives it its musical texture or tone. Although an oscillator is capable of reproducing a wide range of textures, it can only reproduce one musical texture at a time. This is why professional producers found a single oscillator synthesizer like the Juno-6 as very limiting. Multiple oscillators in one synth means that an artist could layer unique tones on top of each other, giving their music depth. With only one oscillator, an artist could run the risk of having a very hollow and oversimplified sound. The Juno-6 compensated for this with a plethora of filter options, adjustable switches that could modify the synth sound even during playing. Paired with the ability to play 6 notes at the same time, the Juno-6 was a powerful tool that required little to no tweaking to hit its optimal sound. Although Roland lacked access to the new digital technologies, they were still able to fit the buzzword digital in their product with the implementation of what they called a digitally controlled oscillator, or DCO. Traditionally, voltage-controlled oscillators, VCOs, were the norm in synthesizers, but they lacked consistency in their quality of sound. Roland's DCO made up for this, and the Juno-6 became a trusted product that no matter where or when would sound great. In combination with its price, the reliability and accessibility opened the doors to young musicians. This simplicity, ease, and affordability attracted a whole generation of young musicians who would give the 1980s its signature sound. For American singer Cyndi Lauper, the Juno-60, the Juno-6's predecessor, with the only difference being its expanded memory storage, played an integral part in her 1983 breakthrough hit, Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. This quirky synth solo that danced across the Juno-60 was originally played as a joke, according to studio assistant engineer John Agnello. Quote, "It was like a big joke when we first did it, but then everyone was like, that's kind of awesome," end quote. The solo would become one of the most memorable parts of the song. It's no coincidence that a song with the Juno launched a new artist into the mainstream. Only 2 years after the release of Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, the iconic Norwegian pop band a-ha rose to popularity with their hit song Take On Me. Armed with a Juno-60, a-ha's keyboardist Magne or Mags Verhulman created the main line of Take On Me that we all know and love. This song catapulted a-ha into popularity, carrying their debut album to the top #1 album in Norway, #2 in the UK, and #15 overseas in the United States Billboard album chart. The keyboard had an alluring trait that captured the hearts of musicians. It somehow always sounded good. In fact, Irish singer Anya utilized one of Juno's presets in her 1991 song Caribbean Blue. Even with its settings hardly modified, the sound of the Juno landed Caribbean Blue in #8 on the UK singles chart. This sound has been the inspiration for many modern digitized instruments that you can hear in genres of music today. For example, synthwave, punk, electro, vaporwave, a popular theme on my channel, and even just mainstream pop. Especially with the surge of lo-fi today, the sound of the 80s is immortalized in its digital recreation. But the sweet signature sound of the original analog Juno is irreplaceable. Close your eyes and imagine once again the sound of the synth. You can easily think of a song from the 80s, but how about the 90s? The 2000s? Maybe even from this year? With little searching, you can find a popular song from all these eras that feature that classic synth sound, a sound brought to the masses by the Juno-6. With its accessibility and enriched natural tone, the Juno-6 created music that reverberates forever in time. Thank you for joining me on this analysis of Roland's Juno-6 synthesizer. My channel is about all things retro, so subscribe for more about artifacts of the past, classic mysteries, and stories from the retro age. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, follow my ever-growing Twitch channel, and most importantly, have a fantastic rest of your day.